Alrighty, everybody. It is currently Friday, February 20th, 2026, and I'm coming at you live from Dearborn, Michigan. You know, a very Muslim city, if you don't know, and I don't know exactly when it was, but recently Ramadan started, and so I would just like to wish the best of luck and give all my support to my Muslim brothers and sisters out there who are going through the perilous journey of eating only 2 meals a day instead of three. Eating only 2 meals a day instead of three. It's gonna be tough. It's gonna be hard. Uh, Eating the exact same amount of calories and macros in 2 meals instead of three. I know it's gonna be difficult to do that, but you guys can make it through. All right. If there's one thing I know about the Muslim people, it's that they can make it through this. They can they can stand by their morals and not give up ever and not try to find some loophole or some way around it. If there's one thing I know about that religion, it's that they never would ever in a million years try to do that. Okay? Ramadan's a very strict thing. You're only allowed to break your fast in case of like extreme emergencies, like someone dying, right? And you need to eat some food or some water or some caffeine or something to stay awake, right? Like that's one of those things. Or if you're like sick at all, or if you're having your period, then you're allowed to break your fast. All right, but it's a very serious, hardcore, sort of dedication, or I guess swearing fealty almost to their god, that instead of eating 3 meals a day, they're only eating two. It I just wish I had that level of will and discipline and power that they have to only eat or 2 meals a day instead of three. But I'm just not as good as them. What can I say? But it is very funny to start this episode off talking shit. I don't really care that much about, because it's like kind of the same thing with Catholics. Like, I was raised Catholic, right? And Catholics always talk about Lent and stuff like that. And granted, they don't talk about it in the exact same way the Muslims do, right? Because the Catholics are more so like it's a time of reflection or whatever, whereas Muslims are like, we're starving ourselves. And it's like, no, like most of the people I know only eat 2 meals a day. It's really not that big of a deal. And they're like, well, we can't eat between sunrise and sunset. And it's like, dude, I live in Kansas and it's February. That's like 8 hours. I do that every single day when I'm awake. I won't eat for eight. It's a very normal thing to do. Um, but yeah, the Catholics, or I guess Christian, I don't know if the other Christians do Lent. I know the Catholics do Lent. Sometimes you do get a little bit like, you can't eat meat one day a week, but also you can eat meat on that one day of the week because it's fish. You can eat meat. I do feel like that a little bit. Or when they're like, I gave up candy for Lent. And it's like, dude, you're 400 pounds. You should have given up candy regardless of Lent. You know what I mean? You should have done it regardless of Lent. But like I said, it is very funny that I'm starting off this episode talking shit, um, because I'm immediately about to expose myself. But hey, that's the way I do it. This is a podcast of pure, not even dichotomy, hypocrisy is what this truly is at the end of the day. It's just hypocrisy boiled down and distilled into a fucking perfume or an Axe body spray. Not even a perfume, an Axe body spray. And I just spray it everywhere, right? Like a middle school locker room. Um, but I think I'm gonna put this in the title, so you might have guessed what it is. I did get catfished. Your boy got. And this wasn't the old school shit. You know what I mean? I wanted to say I got Manti Teo'd. Manti Teo was in it, I will admit, for more pure intentions than I was. Could I say that? Manti Teo was looking for a romantic relationship. I wasn't really looking for anything, but it's like, I mean, if you wanna show me your tits, and you wanna see my dick in return, I have no issue with that. Right? Um, but I guess I'll just tell you guys the full story. It, you might be surprised, honestly, about how, because everyone gets like those spam messages on Instagram, right? Or I'll even get like emails sometimes, and it's like, dude, that honestly probably is a pretty efficient way to do it, because anyone who responds to like a catfish email is old enough or dumb enough or both enough to get scammed like that. Um, but mine was not an email. I met a girl who turns out it wasn't a girl. It was probably a 40-year-old man, or maybe I couldn't tell because I ended up hearing the real voice. I heard a fake voice, and I also heard a real voice, but regardless, it was not a hot 20-year-old chick from Montreal. Should have known she wasn't playing out Helldivers 2. Um, but I did meet this girl, uh, and she was like, "You're funny or whatever. What's your Instagram?" So I'm like, "Okay." Like I'm not. I don't think I'm unfunny, right? Like my when people find me funny, it's not because of the things I think are funny. It's because of the retarded things that I say that everyone else thinks is funny. So I was like, all right, add this chick on or follow her on Instagram or whatever. We're talking a little bit, just messaging back and forth, and eventually one day she goes, I'm just so lonely right now. And it's like, fucking welcome to my world. 22 years straight, dude. 22 years strong. I talk about being an incel like how some people talk about being clean from alcohol or whatever. Like I'm counting days. I got chips on chips on chips. You know what I mean? Like I'm lonely as well. She was like, yeah, I broke up with my boyfriend or whatever, and I'm just feeling super lonely. And she was like, do you have Discord? And I was like, why, yes, I do. Not to talk about video games or to leak classified government documents, but because I wanted to get access to a chick's OnlyFans. But yes, I do. I do have Discord. And so she's like, "All right, call me on Discord." And we had talked a few times before, and like I had seen her and stuff. But I was like, it could be a catfish. It was still in the back of my mind of her potentially being a catfish. And so I call her up on Discord on my phone, um, and we're just talking for a little bit. And she said she was from Montreal, right? And so she had a few grammar errors here and there, uh, which I attributed to the fact that Montreal is a French-speaking city, I believe. So I was like, oh, she speaks French. Of course, her English isn't perfect. No, turns out she speaks like Hindi or whatever, and that's why her English isn't perfect. And so we're talking for a little bit, and she's like, I just get so horny when I'm alone. And instantly, and you got to remember, I'm seeing her face, and she's not like talking over the call, but she's like texting me over the call. And I had like heard her voice before, so I was like, I don't know, she just can't talk right now. Look, look, I'm not going to pretend like I was thinking rationally, right? There was, because that's not a rational thought to have. Why can't she fucking just talk about, like we were talking about like how our days went or whatever. Why can't she talk about that at like what was it? 8 or 9 p.m. You can talk about how your day went out loud at 8 or 9 p.m. It wasn't like we were straight up. It wasn't like I was on there talking about like, yeah, I'm going to finger your fucking pussy in your asshole and and suck on your toes and stuff. Um but I was seeing her face, and I was like, at first I was like, this isn't real, right? And so I was like, hold up a peace sign, and instantly she threw up the peace sign. And so I was like, if this is some sort of like chopped up pre-recorded video, because it was like the footage was a little bit grainy and a little bit like laggy or whatever, I was like, if this is a chopped up pre-recorded video and they just have that peace sign on deck, then I'm getting got. You know what I mean? It turns out I did end up getting got. I do not think it was a pre-recorded video though. I think it was AI. I think that's what it was. Um, and so she's like, "Yeah, I get so horny when I'm alone or whatever." And I was like, "Well, I'm a guy, so I'm a 22-year-old guy, so I kind of get horny all the time, right?" And so we're talking a little bit. She's like, "I just want to take off my shirt, right?" And I said, "Like, I wouldn't mind." And she was like, but I don't want to feel uncomfortable. Do you want to take off your shirt too? And I was like, you're going to be disappointed. And she was like, just take the shirt off. And to be fair, I don't know if it was the angle or what. I was looking pretty jacked when I took my shirt off. I was like, not like my arms are all right, but I have like a pretty small chest and I have a lot of, uh, or not a lot, but relatively a lot of fat around my waist. But I was like, damn, I'm looking pretty good. Like, this could end up, you know what I mean? This could, like, I didn't look bad enough to where I was like, if she still is interested in me, then it's a catfish. You know what I mean? Like, I felt whatever it was about the angle or whatever, I was looking good enough to where I was like, this could work out, right? If this chick is like super lonely and depressed and in a very dark part of her life, then I could end up, you know what I mean? I could see how that would work out because I had just been, I wasn't talking anything sexual up to that point. Mostly because I don't have enough calories in my body to get sufficiently horny, right? That's part of the reason, but also I just don't know how to do it. That's the other thing about being a chud that they don't you you don't hear about enough is that we don't understand how to do that. So I was just like talking to her like she was one of the bros or whatever. But I'm like, I don't know, maybe I was. Maybe I was being flirty or whatever up until then. I literally have no idea. Um and so she's like she gets her tits out, she takes her pants off, and I'm like, well, she took her pants off, tit for tat, quid pro quo. I'm a fair man. You know what I mean? I'm a legislative, justice minded individual. I'm going to take my pants off too. And this is where I start to think this person maybe was going beyond the point of just like catfishing me to exploit me for money because I take my pants off, right? And my dick is soft because, like I said, I'm consuming 1,300 calories a day when I should be consuming 2,500. And so my dick is soft. And she's like, get it hard. And so I'm like, okay, well, just turn back around, show me your tits. Then my dick will get hard. You know what I mean? And so I get my dick hard. And then still the video call does not end. This thing probably went on for 2 or 3 minutes. It went on for a pretty decent while. Um, and so I get my dick hard, and I'm like, I'm hitting not fully hard, but I would say like 3/4 of the way there. Like we're on the 10-yard line by now in terms of dick hardness. And so my dick is like 3/4 hard, and I'm kind of giving it a jerk, and she's like get it close to the camera. And so I get it close to the camera, and she like puts her mouth up and starts like opening her mouth. It was weird. It That was probably part of the reason my dick didn't get fully hard was just like the weirdness of it all and the suddenness. I don't know. Like I don't know how people hook up because I was like, this is just so awkward. It's so weird, you know. But then again, I am a 5'4" balding chud incel, so I can't comprehend things in the way a 5'11" high tier normie does. But yeah, like I get my dick like right up on the camera. I'm talking like she's getting like sh you could have used it for an anatomy class at that point. Like that's the type of view that the 40-year-old man who lives in Cambodia, is getting of my dick. Like it was there was more than just a desire to get a video of me getting my dick out. There was there was something sexual about it. Um just because it went on for so long. Like my dick is out. It, what more could you possibly need? Uh, and so around like that point when I'm like 3/4 trying to punch it into the goal line, trying to run it into the end zone and get that touchdown, the video call ends and I'm like, well, instantly I do, and instantly we went from about 3/4 to like negative 48%, I'd say. Like it dropped quick. It was like the Bitcoin crash or whatever. That thing went straight into the motherfucking ground. Um, and my heart started beating pretty quickly, and I just got like a ton of messages in a row. I'm sure they were all like copied and pasted or whatever, of being like, I'm gonna send this to everyone and like sending me screenshots of it and stuff. And I was like, well, you don't know my name. And she was like, or she, once again, the jury's still out. I really, I'll tell you guys about the call in a second, but the jury's still out about whether it was a he or a she or just like a person who grew up in like a third world country where all the rivers are polluted with like plastic bags and dead bodies and shit like that, you know? But anyway, the person, whatever it was like, I'm going to send this to all the people you follow on Instagram. And I was like, who do I follow on Instagram? And so I went to my following real quick and I'm in my following and at like the top of my phone, I'm just getting like message after message being like, I'm going to send it. I'm going to send it. And so I go to my following and it's like this one other dude I play video games with sometimes. I don't, not too much anymore, but every once in a while I'll play with him. Pause. Pause. Big pause over this entire story. Over this entire story, just throw a big old pause blanket net over it. And so I'm checking who I follow on Instagram, and it's like this one dude I play video games with that like I know personally, and that would like actually like open the DM, and it would have like a consequence in my life or whatever. This chick that I sometimes play video games with, and then like my two best friends in the entire world. So it's two people that I don't really know and who don't really know me, and then people who know me so well that they've seen my open, spread open asshole before. And so I go back to the Discord thing, and I'm like, it, I, I don't care if my friends get a video of my dick, but I would like it not to happen. And so at first, the catfish or whatever you want to call it, the 40-year-old man who lives in Mumbai is like, give me $300. And I'm like, I'm not gonna give you $300. It's like, fuck off. Um, and then I realized immediately after I was like kind of negotiating for a second, I was like, I can just tell these people not to open the DM, and they just won't do it. And if they do, then they're fucking gay, right? Like, why would you like willingly open a DM of that you know has like someone, a dude you know jerking off in it, or like kind of half, you know what I mean? The half jerk off where you're like, come on, just get fucking, I just want to juice, dude, just get hard, like that type of shit. Like, why would you willingly open that video if you knew what was coming? It's like, yeah, it's gonna be like kind of embarrassing to explain this to my friends, but there's also like single mothers out there. So, and once again, not passing judgment on the single mothers. I'm entirely responsible for this situation. You know, it's entirely my fault. Um, and so I just texted my friends and I was like, hey, if you get a DM, don't open it. I think I got catfished. Give me a second to like fuck with this person real quick. Because at that point, it's fully like, yeah, you're going to send this. Even if she does or he does send it and my friends end up opening it or whatever, it's fucking hilarious. And also, the other thing I wanted him to see was how good the AI was. It was like full. It was perfect. It was amazing. And the chick that they used for like the model of the AI or whatever, like a 6.5, like a perfect 6.5. And if I'm like a 3, then it's like a lonely 6.5 who's in like a dark place in her life, and then me, a 3 who's like not like a perv dude who's like trying to get in her pants or whatever. I kind of ended up being that perv dude, but only after she asked, or he. I'm just saying she to make me feel better. But after he asked, um, and so I was just like, give me a second to fuck with this person, and so I was like, I just kind of wanted to say fuck it, send it. Like I don't care what those like. I'll just those people know they're gonna get the video and they're just gonna ignore it, right? But I'm like, for a second, I did consider negotiating because it was like $300 first, and then he was like $100 or whatever. And I was like, I could get this fool down to like 50, 75 and delete the video. And then in my heart, the words, we do not negotiate with terrorists, rang true in a way they never have before, right? Because we've all seen it in like movies and TV shows and stuff where it's like, we don't negotiate with terrorists. Why? Because if you negotiate with one terrorist, then you're going to have to negotiate with them all. And in this circumstance, it was, if I give you the money, then you'll delete the video. And it's like, but if I give them the entire reason this person is doing this is to get money out of me, right? That's the entire reason. So why the fuck would he delete the video? I'm just gonna start saying he. Let's call a spade a spade. Why the fuck would he delete the video if he knows he can keep getting money out of me by threatening me? Like what? Why the fuck would he do that? Um, and so I was like, kind of negotiating down for a second, and he was at like, I don't know if it was 100, but it was like maybe 150 or something like that. Like he gave me a 50% off Black Friday discount. I don't know. I think it was President's Day when it happened, so it was a President's Day discount. um, he was like 150, and I was like, I'll give you $10. And he was like, fuck you with your $10, and like sent me all these DMs of like threatening to post it on TikTok too, which is like every TikTok video gets reviewed by a dude who's also in Mumbai, who's probably in the same office building as the scammer, for like nudity and stuff like that. So it's like you post it on TikTok, one person maybe sees it, if that, and then it gets deleted. Like I don't really, that's not a threat to me. Um, and so he's like sending me all that shit, and I and I'm just like negotiating down. And after a while, he's like $20, and it's like that's when you start to feel bad for the person almost, because this was like hours of this person's time, not like 20 hours, but like a good 5 hours over the course of a few weeks of this person's time was spent entrapping me into this situation. It's like, dude, I can get $20 an hour working at FedEx, man. God, I did start feeling a little bit bad for the fool at that point, but I was like, no, I'm just gonna keep fucking with this person, right? And so I was like, I'll give you 50, I'll Venmo you 50 cents. And he was like, okay, I'm sending it now. And then he showed a screenshot of him like sending it to my friend, who by the way has a private Instagram account. So it's like the DM won't send, right? And I think everyone like all my friends have private Instagram accounts. So it's like it won't even send. And then so and at that point he was like, I uploaded it on TikTok, and he sent me a screenshot, right, of the video supposedly uploaded on TikTok. And so I went to the account that it was supposedly posted under, didn't exist, right? And it's like it's just shocking how much they, like, the entire plan is predicated on like a moment of panic, right? Like that's what the plan is predicated on: two moments. One of horniness, which that one's guaranteed, or at least if you're dealing with a lonely chud loser like me. And then a moment of panic, which I did panic, but I was also, I love money more than that. I'm a cheap motherfucker. I will hold on to my money till I die. So my love for the money, the whatever percent Jewish I have in me, you know, came out. Hopefully it's no percent, but if I do have any, it rescued me in that moment and was like, don't send this fucking fool $300. Um, so I go to the account. The account doesn't even exist. All my friends have private Instagrams, and so I get this call, and it's from the chick, aka the 40-year-old man living in Dakar, Bangladesh. And so I'm like, I answered it. I was going for like a chill type of vibe, you know? And so I was like, yo, what's up? I was like, how did you do that? Like, how did you, was it an AI video, or was it like a cut up video when you're just like really quick at editing or whatever? And the voice that came back was not the voice I was expecting in a couple of ways. Um, for one, it wasn't the voice that I had heard before, but secondly, it was like, it sounded like whatever gender this person was, they had some sort of severe hormone disorder. It was, it sounded just like generally trans, is how I would describe this voice. It was a generally trans voice that I was hearing back at me, and I was like, how did you do that, dude? Was it AI or what? And he was like, I cannot do the voice. You can only do that voice if you're like mentally ill and have abused your body with hormones trying to become a different gender than you are, right? Like It's the only possible way I could describe this voice. Or like I said, you grew up in a third world country and you were constantly surrounded by like chemicals that in the US you have to wear a hazmat suit to handle, right? Like that's what this person sounded like. And so it was like, send me the money, send me the money. And I was like, yeah, dude, I'm done with this. Just upload it. And I just blocked him because once again, the whole point of this is to get money out of me. So if I just block you, then there's no more negotiating for money. There's no more like telling me what Venmo account to send the money to, which by the way, I don't even have a Venmo. So so the money wouldn't even have gotten sent. Even if they did send the video. And it's like, and you already sent it to someone. You sent it to one of the people that I know. And so it's like, yeah. So if that ever happens to you, it's scary in the moment and it does suck, but you can also just be like, yeah, send it and then just block them. Because you got to remember the whole reason they're doing it is for money. It's what it all boils down to. And it's not a lot, I'll tell you. I think the lowest price I got this person down to was $25. I think that's what it was if I remember correctly. It was $25 for more than 2 hours of this person's life. Uh, it, Pretty funny experience overall, I'll say. And you know what? You know how I feel about it? Next play wins. I don't give a fuck. I do not I do not care, dude. I'll still talk to like all the people I met playing Helldivers online. I don't give a shit at all. Next play wins, all right? Fuck it. It might happen again. The chances of it happening again, I'd say, are in the 90s. I would take this bet if you can. If it's a profitable bet to take it. It it will be hitting again. There's a very good chance that happens to me for a second time. But at least I know now. You just block them and say fuck you. You just say fuck you and block them. So that was, and this is a recent phenomena that's been going on in my life where it kind of seems like each one of my friends is having a shit week, but not concurrently. It's like a one shit week, or yeah, concurrently, that would be the word. It's like consecutively. My friend had a shit week last week. I would say the guy, his his family and him went through some shit. I would say my week was maybe a little bit shittier, not even because of the catfishing thing. The other thing I can't even talk about, uh, just out of like the sake of not wanting to air other people's dirty laundry, but something happened. Something very fun happened. Don't want to cry, but something fun happened. Um, And so next week, if my boy is listening to this, my other boy who hasn't had a shit week yet, it's coming for you, dude. You're next up. It's like that song Pumped Up Kicks. He's coming for you. Yeah, he's coming for you. So I don't know if anyone else out there is having like everyone you know, just one after another is having shit weeks. Let me know. Hit the comments down in the videos. I don't know. I have been getting I've gotten a couple I've gotten one comment and one Instagram DM this week, which for me, that basically means that the IDF is about to reach out to me and ask me to become a propaganda machine for them. And if so, IDF, if that is your intent, yes. It won't even take that much money. You know what I mean? Like if you can, honestly, if you can get me like 5 Fairlife protein shakes a week, I'm all yours. I will defend anything. Um, but yeah, I got one DM and one comment, both on the Terry Davis thing, right? Which is still somehow far and away the biggest episode. The Black Douglas is getting up there a whole ton, which are 2 episodes that I was just like, these things rule. And so that's what I'm trying to do more of. Like I tried to keep it like for a while there. I was trying to do like a diverse range of topics. Now it's just anything that I think rules. And so this week's episode, it's a banger. We had about 90 tabs open, and it actually really inspired me a whole lot. and I'll talk about that when we do that episode. But so anyway, the point is, we are now up to 25 followers on Spotify. So I would say it was all worth it. It was all the existential dread that I felt for about 30 minutes, worth it. The other thing that happened in my family, worth it. Um, the shit that happened to my friend last week, worth it. Because we're up to 25 followers on Spotify, baby, dude. Quarter way to 100. If we get to 100, I will find a way to reach back out to the catfisher and release the video of me jerking off my 3/4 hard dick. I will do it if we get to 100. that's the that's my new promise to you guys. If it happens, you will see a video of my decent physique and my far more disappointing penis that isn't even fully erect. I promise you, you guys will see that video. And so yeah, that's all the things that happened to me this week. The other thing that happened to me was I went to the dentist. Or I went to the doctor and then to the dentist. Um, because I went to the dentist for like an emergency thing because I thought my wisdom teeth were infected, and I go to an IHS clinic, which is the Indian Health Service. And if you don't know what that is at all, you probably don't. I barely know, and I go to one, but they have like the dental and the medical, like the general shit in the same building. And so for some reason, the lady booked me for just like a general medical checkup. Um, and I got to tell my doctor that I smoke weed sometimes. Yeah. But no, I went to my dentist appointment and I ended up getting prescribed a mouth guard for when I sleep because apparently I have the teeth of a 40-year-old mule who has eaten nothing but cinder blocks for its entire life. I'm 22 years old and apparently I've ground down my teeth so much in my sleep that now I have to sleep with a mouth guard in, which I've previously slept with a mouth guard, but I was like, I think my teeth are fine. I think my teeth are fine. No, they're almost to the point that an operation has to be done on them. So, yeah, that was like the only other thing that happened this week. I can't remember anything else. I didn't have to spend 4 hours learning about bugs. That was last week. I don't know if I talked about that at all. Spent 4 hours, more than 4 hours, 4 hours and 15 minutes. All right, and I counted every goddamn second of it, staring at bugs. This week we spent 3 hours staring at fish, which flip flop those two. Fish are way sicker than bugs. Everyone agrees, dude. Fish are sicker than bugs. Um, but yeah, that's really all that happened in my life this week. I guess just general news. Like I have some articles up, obviously, but general news was we had a couple trans mass shooters. Uh, and here's the thing about all the mass shooter shit. Some people want to blame it on white people or Nazis or whatever. Some people want to blame it on the blacks, which is statistically the most true, but just generally speaking, I don't know. Some people want to blame it on the trainees. People want to blame it on all sorts of different people. But let's look across the board here at every mass shooter we've ever had. They're all ugly. None of them are hot. We've never had a hot mass shooter ever. Like they might end up being kind of immortalized or whatever in a way where they get like a online community of women who talk about how hot they are, but that's just because all women are psychopaths who want to date murderers, right? That's why that is. They're not actually attractive, you know. Um yeah, they're all ugly. This is the common theme with all of them. They are all ugly. And, some people might blame it on society, that society treats ugly people poorly so that then they become mass shooters. Some people might blame it on the ugly people because you gross ugly, right? Uh, but whatever it is, it's ugliness. Ugliness is the common theme. Some people propose bans on guns, just generally across the board to stop mass shootings. Some people are like, don't sell guns to black people or trannies or whatever the case may be. Really, what it all boils down to is we need like a clavicular. That guy, everyone's seen that guy. He's like the looks maxing guy who's like, this guy's a low tier normie, 5 out of 10 or whatever. Which, by the way, y'all are late to the game. I've been on this shit for like 3 years now, so y'all are late to the game. But anyway, we need one of those guys in every gun store and gun counter across America. And I would say if you're below a 4 out of 10, uh, not including height, then you can't. We're gonna have to do some investigation into you. Is all I'll say about that. You know, it shouldn't be trans people aren't allowed to buy guns, or black people aren't allowed to buy guns, or white people aren't allowed to buy guns. No, it's the uglies. We need a looks maxing TikTok kid, and we have the numbers, dude. You look at how many people follow, like, legitimately, unironically follow these looks maxing people on TikTok. We have the numbers. We have the logistic capability to be able to do this. To be able to look at a guy, be like, nope, 4.5 out of 10, negative Cantal tilt, no AR-15 for you, buddy. We, you know, you can make the argument that banning guns in America won't stop mass shootings, and I'd agree with you. You can make that argument, right? Because we do not have the logistics to be able to do it. We don't have the logistics to collect every single gun in America. What we do have the logistics to do, however, is to have some 14-year-old kid with a broccoli head haircut who smashes his face with a ball peen hammer decide whether you're ugly enough to, go to a parade or whatever and kill a bunch of people with your newly purchased, AK-47 or whatever. We do have the population demographics to be able to do that, and we have the logistic powers to be able to do that. So that's what should be done. That's what we need to do about this. We need to have, a little clavicular clone, a little, and you know how we pay him? We say, hey, you're not getting a salary, you're not getting anything like that. One time, plastic surgery of your choice, and it can be whatever you want. You can get cheekbone implants, you can get fucking, limb lengthening surgery, whatever you want. We give them that. That's the sign-on bonus right there. And then the rest of it is like retinol and fillers and stuff like that, and test. And I know that clavicular guy's really into meth, so we'll give him a little bit of meth too. Hey, the Nazis weren't wrong about everything. Giving people meth really does motivate them, all right? You ever seen a meth head who wasn't motivated? Yeah, me either. They don't exist. People on meth are extremely fucking motivated. And so that's how we deal with this situation. We don't propose some new dumb fucking, bill or whatever that's never going to get turned into a law. It's just going to sit there on Capitol Hill. It's not going to get made into a law. It's just going to be a bill sitting on Capitol Hill. All right. What we need is something that is reasonable within the world that we live in. I've looked at the demographics. I've poured over the data. All right. I hired a kid who posts videos of him sucking on his cheeks, and on TikTok, DM'd a kid like that. I said, pour over the data. Tell me what percent of these guys are sub fives. What percentage are like low tier normie? There was nothing above a mid tier normie in terms of a school shooter over the past 2 decades, or a mass shooter of any kind. All right, that was the information I received from this 14-year-old kid who contemplates suicide every day because his upper eyelid exposure is too much, right? I got that information, I got that data from him, and he confirmed it to me, right? So that's what we do. It's a very, very simple process. Like I said, we got the numbers. All right, go see how many of these kids are, and look, do I ever get a fucking black pill edit on TikTok? Yeah, I do. But I've been known I was ugly. It's not that big of a deal to me, personally at least, right? And I think that should be the test. I think that should be the ultimate test, right? So we have like this 14-year-old broccoli-headed kid standing in the corner behind the gun counter, you know what I mean, like playing with his hair or whatever and squinting his eyes and sucking on his cheeks. We have that kid standing in the corner. And then we have some guy with a giant gray beard and a Ducks Unlimited camo hat on, and you walk up to the counter and you go, "Can I get an AR-15, please? I would like one AR-15 with enough bullets to kill 35 deer who all bullied me in high school." Right? I want to kill 35 deer though, not 35 people. So enough bullets to do that. And then the TikTok kid comes up and goes, "Whoa, whoa, whoa. Slow your roll there, partner. You have a negative cantal tilt, receded chin, maxilla. Your maxilla's messed up. You don't mew. You don't thumb pull. You don't do any of those things. No gun for you." And then the gun counter guy goes, "Do you think you're ugly?" And the answer isn't as important as the reaction. If the reaction is just like, yeah, then, or no, right? If it's just like a nice, calm, even reaction, you get that AR-15 and you get to go kill those 35 deer who bullied you in high school. That's that's what happens. But if you get all flustered and stuff, you know, old, I don't know, I'm trying to think of like a black pill TikTok name. I can't think of one. But that kid goes, no AR-15 for that guy. And the gun store owner just tips his cap and goes, "Get out of my fucking sight," and kicks you out of the store. That's that's what the gun process should be like in America. No background checks, no none of that bullshit. We just need Rome Leo or whatever. That was my attempt at like a black pill TikTok kid name. We need Rome Leo to give you an official low tier normie rating or whatever. All right, that's what we need to stop mass shootings in this country. You want to stop gun violence as a whole, ain't gonna happen. But you want to stop like sensationalized, headline mass shootings? Get Romeo in that store to give you your official PSL score rating. It's what we need. It's what we need. But they are right about that shit. And people pretending that they aren't is very funny. It's very funny to be like, yeah, 70% of people or men under the age of 25 have never spoken to a woman before, but that's perfectly normal. It's funny to pretend that those guys are wrong. And it's like, they're obviously correct, right? Whether you believe that like the incels should be given more empathy or whatever, the black pill people are correct. Women are attracted to hot guys, and especially with the internet, that's been kind of blown out of proportion. Kind of goes the same way as well, but the horniness of men will always shine through that. You know what I mean? Like, that's why I think women have less of a right to complain about that stuff, is because the horniness of men knows no bounds. And sometimes that's a good thing. A lot of times it's a very, very bad thing. It can be very bad when an undisciplined man gets very horny. When a disciplined man gets very horny, that's actually a good thing. You want that. You know what I mean? Like that's how we get guys like Harold Godwinson, who is the topic of our main episode this week. Or I guess next week. Yeah, this is coming out on Friday, so next week. But that guy being super horny, that's a good thing. But an undisciplined man being very horny is a very bad thing. So, yeah. Anyway, I guess that's everything that like just generally went on in the world this week. I'm trying to think what else went on. I don't know. Oh yeah, Zoran Mamdani. Yeah, the politician lied, dummy. They all do. Like, why are we still like trying to own the other side when they're wrong? I don't get that. It's so fucking retarded. The fact when the right does it, it's retarded. When the left does it, it's retarded and also annoying. You know, but yeah, there was a whole bunch of shit that at least I personally saw this week of people being like, "Oh, I bet you're regretting voting for Mom Donnie now." And it's like, what do you think would have happened if they would have voted for someone else? Everything would have been perfect? No, it would have been even worse. Maybe not. That guy does seem pretty malicious in a lot of the things that he's doing. But it's like, yeah, the politician lied. Same with Trump. It's this whole dunk fest we have going on. It's just a dunk competition, dude. It's the NBA All-Star dunk competition. And like the NBA All-Star dunk competition, it's getting really old. All right? It's getting really old being like, can you believe they supported that politician? That's the reaction to every politician, right or left. None of them care about you. They would kill any one of us in a second for not even that much money. They would do it for free, right? Because they're all pedophiles. And they don't want that fact exposed to the public. But even now, that fact has been exposed to the public and no one's done anything, right? So how about we stop dunking on each other because some people disagree about how the world should be run? Because the way the world is being run and the way it will continue to be run uh, is by satanic pedophiles who actively want to kill us. Not even fine with us dying or don't care about us. That would be great. If the politicians didn't care about us, that would be fucking immaculate. That would be amazing. My life would be so much better, right? Or everyone's lives would be better if the politicians didn't care about us. Because that's what everyone says. Oh, they don't care about you. They don't care about you. No, that's wrong. They care about you, but in a very negative way, right? They think about you all the time. They think about how they can kill you. They think about how they control you. They think about all that shit. I wish they didn't care about us, dude. How much better would that be? Would you rather have a dad that gets home drunk every day and beats the shit out of you with a belt? Or would you rather have a dad who gets home drunk every day and passes out on the fucking couch? Which would you rather have? I'd rather have a dad taking a nap on the couch while he watches fucking, what's that show called? Duck Call? The one with Uncle Si. You guys know what I'm talking about. While he watches that show. I would rather have that than a dad who comes home and beats me every day. And that's what we have. Dad's coming home off a few whiskey and cokes, shoving mom's dinner on the ground, going, where is that little motherfucker? Let me get a fucking peek at him. I love you, buddy. Come out. Right? That's what we're experiencing right now in terms of our politicians. I wish they didn't care about us. I really do. If we can get to the point where they're just screwing us over for money, that would be amazing. Oh my God, that would be so great if they were just screwing us over for money, but they're not. They actively want to kill and control us. So, yeah, I just think the whole political fucking, dunk contest it's just gotten old, right? And that's the other thing about it. Everything that can be said has been said, and really there's not that much to say about it. The entire point is, oh, you thought that politician was going to be good, but turns out he was bad. That's what it all boils down to at the end of the day. So it's like, yeah, it's all been said before, dude. They all hate us, they all want to kill us, and they all actively kill and eat babies. So how about we go, yeah, you thought that guy was going to do good. Turns out he was a satanic pedophile like the rest of them. All right, can we kill him now? Right? That should be the conversation surrounding these things, right? Whether it's still Ron Mamdani or whether it's Donald Trump. The conversation would be, yeah, man, you got, right? You gonna get got. Hey, let me, real quick, I think this applies to a lot of this episode. I would like to quote the poet or the philosopher athlete, Marshawn Lynch. I'm gonna get got, but I'm gonna get mine more than I get got, though. That should be the sentiment that we have going on. I'm going to get got. I'm going to vote for Donald Trump or Zoran Mamdani or whatever. I'm going to get got, but I'm going to get mine more than I get got, though. That, if you have that mentality, if the American people collectively had that mentality, then we'd end up getting ours more than we get got, though. But we ain't getting ours more than we get got, though. We're getting got more than we get ours, though. It's disappointing. It's very disappointing. Even coming from me, dude. Like I said, I got. We all get got. We're all gonna get got. Okay? It's fine to admit that. Marshawn Lynch, amazing athlete. I would argue a Hall of Famer just based off his fucking aura alone. He admitted to getting got. So why can't you? Why can't you just say, I got, you got, we all gonna get got. We gotta get ours more than we get got, though. That's the mentality you have to have. You know what I mean? Next play wins. Fuck it, run it back. Let's go. That's the mentality we as America need to have. Is that we are gonna get got. It's gonna happen to all of us. We're all gonna end up showing our dicks to a 40-year-old weirdly voiced man in Myanmar. It's gonna happen to all of us. Okay, but you gotta get yours more than you get got, though. You gotta waste that motherfucker's time and be like, I'll give you 50 cents, bitch. Eat my balls. I felt like Les Grossman in that one scene in Tropic Thunder where he's like, how about instead of 100 million, I send you a hobo's fucking dick cheese? Then do what you want to do. Skin the motherfucker alive, beat him to death. I don't care. We don't negotiate with terrorists. We don't negotiate with terrorists. Those are the two sayings this week. We don't negotiate with terrorists, and I'm going to get got, but I'm going to get mine more than I get got, though. Those are our two quotes this week. So remember those. Write those down in your notebook. That will be on the pop quiz next week. So, but yeah, that's all I have to say. Just in general, I just took 2 disgusting sips of water. Luckily, I don't think the mic picked them up. If they did, and you haven't killed yourself already, go to a therapist. But let's talk about the news. I don't know if I'm going to do our final or even our last 2 articles today. Let's see how long the first article goes. So this article is from Syracuse.com, and this is couple arrested after getting involved into heated pickleball fight involving 20 others. And I just want to say, dude, this was MLK's dream. This is the perfect coming together of white culture and black culture. You know, it's the perfect combination, the perfect blending of those two things. I've never seen such a raceless act ever in my entire life. A giant fight over pickleball. You hear giant fight broke out, you instantly go, yeah, Shaquata Nequa was snatching weaves and throwing hands. That's your instant reaction to that. But then you hear over pickleball, and you go, the whites are getting involved in this right now? The whites are having 20 people fist fights over literally nothing? It's happening, dude. We're all becoming equal. In their hatred of us, the government has unified us and made us all equal. We're all psychopaths with no self-control now. It's happening, dude. It's the entire time that they were trying to divide us and separate us and make us different, we ended up all becoming the same thing. And that's how we're going to get them, you know? And this is a prime example of that. 20-person fist fight over pickleball. That's what I'm talking about. That was the dream. That could have been the entire MLK dream speech right there. 20-person brawl over pickleball. How many words is that? 20-person brawl over pickleball. Pickleball is all one word. Whole thing could have been 6 words. I'll say it right now. MLK did a lot of yapping. The entire I Have a Dream speech could have been 6 words. 20-person brawl over pickleball. But let's read a little bit more about this. So, a Florida couple was arrested after they allegedly started a fight over pickleball that included about 20 people. The dispute led to multiple injuries at a country club on Sunday morning. Anthony Sapienza, WAP, and his wife, Julianne Sapienza, so he's 63, she's 51, were arrested after deputies responded to an incident at Spruce Creek Country Club shortly after 11 a.m. on February 8th, according to an online arrest affidavit filed by the Val Louisa Sheriff's Office and viewed by the people. So, the heated confrontation began when Anthony accused opposing players of stepping into the kitchen, a restricted area near the net. Verbal insults then followed during the game, with Anthony allegedly yelling, "Your wife is a cunt," at another player. When the player confronted him, Anthony allegedly punched him in the left side of the face and struck him with a pickleball paddle. A little bit of 1-2 there. Look, you know, in hockey or whatever, they drop the gloves and they start fighting. Fuck that. Fight with your sticks. All right, that's what fighting in hockey should be like. I respect this guy. You know, use the tools you have at your disposal. So, which caused significant bleeding. Emergency services transported the man to the hospital for treatment of a laceration above his eye. When the man's wife tried to intervene, Anthony allegedly pushed her to the ground. Another 70-year-old man then intervened in an attempt to break up the fight. He claimed Anthony punched him in the face, causing his nose to bleed profusely. This guy came up from the bottom. That's my guess right here. All these other rich cunts out there, they were born into this shit, not Anthony. Anthony worked his way up to the country club to play pickleball and yell cunt and fucking, you know, Spoiler alert for the next episode, there was a Viking who once took on the entire English army and killed about 40 of them. He got, but he got his more than he got, though. That's what Anthony is. Anthony is the Viking at Stamford Bridge. It's a pretty, you might have heard of him before. That's who Anthony is. He embodies that spirit. So Anthony and Julianne fled the scene before deputies could arrest them. Anthony faces charges of aggravated battery causing bodily harm and 2 counts of felony battery on a person 65 years of age or older. Julianne Sapienza was charged with felony battery on a person 65 years of age or older. This is just another example of the boomer laws. You know what I mean? How everything our government does is to benefit boomers. Those seem to be the only Americans that get anything out of the government, right? The only Americans who get anything out of the government are the boomers, right? The the other groups that get things out of the government are corporations, Israel, and third world immigrants. Other than that, it's the boomers. No, and like I said, the boomers are the only Americans. I'm sorry, a third world immigrant is not an American. I'm sick and tired of pretending a dude from fucking Hyderabad, India, who thinks 12-year-old girls should be married off to 40-year-old men is an American. An American does not think that, okay? It's crazy to me that people on the right or left are like, that guy's just as American as you. No, he's not, okay? No, he's not. That guy is not as American as me. What are we doing here? It's just very, and it's all just an excuse to import people from the third world for votes or cheap labor. That's the only reason that they do that, is to distract the Americans from the actual problem, which the third world immigrants are a problem, but to distract them from the actual problem, which is the Satanist pedophiles who run our country, and also to get cheap labor out of them and have their lives basically subsidized by the taxpayers. But anyway, sorry for going on that rant. I don't know how we got from pickleball to people from India aren't Americans, but anyway. Next article, whatever. I'm not reading all this shit. 57 minutes. No one ever listens to the end anyway. Which I don't blame you guys for. Look, I'm not mad about it. It's just a statement of fact. And plus, I gotta save my voice for the fire fucking episode we're doing tomorrow. I had about 90 tabs open when I was researching this episode. It's gonna be. Hopefully, I'm well rested. Hopefully, I'm feeling good for tomorrow's episode because it should be pretty good in my personal opinion. I think it's a very interesting topic that I find personally interesting, and I did a lot of research for it. So I hope everyone listening has a good day, a good week, a good year, a good life, and I'll see you guys in the next episode. Peace.